Hey guys, Streets of Rage. Man, what a classic game. Like, I really wanted to play something from my childhood after reviewing F-Zero, and I thought about what non-Nintendo game can I dig up from my childhood. So, looking in my closet and seeing all the games that I had, I realized that, hey, why not one of the most played things that I've touched on the Sega Genesis? And that was the Sega 6-pack, which, I know this is a Streets of Rage video, but the Sega 6-pack came with 6 games. You had Super Hang-On, Sonic, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, Columns, and Revenge of Shinobi. All these games were incredible, and I'll probably end up getting to at least 2 more of these on this list, most likely Revenge of Shinobi and Super Hang-On. But the Sega 6-pack allowed me and my brother to play these awesome beat 'em up. Outside Golden Axe, Streets of Rage stands out to me as my favorite beat 'em up that I've ever played as a kid. The Sega 6-pack was really cool, and I'm really glad I got to have that as a kid. The composer we have here is Koshiro Yuzo. His soundtrack was inspired by electronic music, house specifically, and trance from what I read anyways. And whenever he left Japan to go overseas, he listened to that music and went home and worked on this soundtrack right away. It was a huge inspiration for him. And honestly, I think these type of games is why I like electronic music a lot, especially house and trance. Any game that has it as a soundtrack usually slaps. I mean, sheesh, man, there's so many games that have an electronic soundtrack that I can just listen to outside the game and jam out to it. You know, when I'm not listening to metal music, of course. We have the characters here. There's only 3 in this game. You have Blaze, Axel, and Adam. They're all from the police force, and they decided to take on the Syndicate, which is the whole story of the game. But unfortunately, the government of the city is too corrupt, and they take matters in their own hands, classic 80s, 90s style, to go out and beat the shit out of a bunch of bad guys until they reach the top and take out the boss. So, a beat 'em up. It's like the perfect middle ground from a fighting game and an action game, right? Because, I mean, I'm not really a big fan of fighting games, and truthfully, I kind of suck at them. Besides the Dragon Ball ones that I played and some of the Naruto fighting games, I really don't mess around with fighting games too much. I think the one that I played the most, besides Bloody Roar 2, was probably Street Fighter 2 on the Sega Genesis. You have stage 1 here, which is this downtown mix between, like, I would say LA and Japan. You have these neon signs everywhere, smaller buildings with garages that open up, and enemies will come out to try to challenge you, and back alleys where from the side screen enemies will come from both sides like in most beat 'em up games. And you have a few choices here to how to handle things, and the first level introduces you to the weapons, which is a very big part of the game. These weapons usually allow you to clear out the stage to get to the boss, and then at that point you probably will get in closer with your hand-to-hand. There's a few bosses that I beat with the weapons, but most of the time it's a lot better to, from what I know, to get in and grab them and start doing some damage in a grab combo. The difficulty for this though, as you progress, like you would expect, it's a lot harder. Thankfully you have this thing right here. Some of the police force isn't all corrupt and they have your back. Unfortunately, since I don't have a second player, I couldn't show you the second player special, but it's still just as cool as the rocket launcher, if not cooler. I would always want to play player 2 because when we play my brother, I'd be like, yeah, I really want to fire the giant minigun, so hey. The next level I want to talk about is the beach stage. It's the 3rd stage, skipping the 2nd stage. Not that it's bad, but the 3rd stage sticks out to me a lot because you're on this beach and it's nighttime and the wind's making the trees rustle, the water is going up to the shore and coming back, receding, and it starts raining in some parts. Well, either it's rain or it's waves, and I'm pretty sure it's rain, but the water effects on the screen at the time really just caught me off guard, and it stands out to me because the soundtrack's also really good. But then you, instead of busting up phone booths and trash cans, you're breaking tires and taking stuff out of tires to get weapons. But the boss on this stage is what I remember the most, next to the soundtrack, which you can hear in the background, is he's like this wrestler that'll just nail you with a giant fist to the face, dealing half your health and damage. Now, he's pretty easy to deal with once you realize that you have to bait him into his punch and then hit him. I did notice a few times I could jump and kick him before he reaches me, but you don't want to stay in his trajectory. Very simple, but highly punishing mechanic if you don't follow it. Just whatever you do not make this mistake I did and try to pick up the Big Ben, as they call him, that's his name, because dude, oh my god, you'll just die. You'll break your back, you'll take half your health, and you'll just die. Makes sense. 100% makes sense. But it was hilarious when I found that out the first time. Outside that, we have the boat stage, which, again, skipping a stage to get here. I really love the soundtrack and the fact that you're on a boat, which is freaking cool. The boss here, though, well, before that, you get to a point where the game gives you an extra special, and you're like, okay, that's cool. But the boss you fight here is the first time that in single player, you will fight 2 enemies at once. And this is where it starts getting harder, because this is about the middle of the game, and from here on out is where the game starts getting very serious. You probably want to use both of your specials on that, and a lot of the times if you saved enough life from previous stages, your score gets better and you get more lives. You can brute force your way through some of these bosses with your special. Sometimes it's really good to do, and you're probably gonna die for your first few times like I have, or I do all the time. But regardless, the boss here is pretty cool. It's a duo of these, I would assume, acrobats that want to jump in, fake you out, and then grab you and throw you. They're probably martial artists, but yeah, it's just a really cool boss. The elevator stage, though, the second to last stage, not counting the boss stage, is so unique. Like, instead of just going from one left to right along the stage, following through whatever theme it's putting out for you, you're going up. Every so many floors stop, enemies come out, they jump out from above, and you're fighting on this small confined space with one twist. You can throw their ass off the elevator. And not only that, you can also be thrown off the elevator, which is absolutely hilarious. And you get this little bit of time when you get thrown off the elevator where you could actually call in your special. So you're going to probably die anyways, so you want to just do that. But I just find it hilarious that you're fighting a massive brawl on this outer elevator. The elevator stage leads you up to the second to last level before the boss room, and up there you won't be able to use your special. So hopefully you saved up enough lives to make this a much easier process, because if you're getting your shit kicked in early on, you probably won't make it. I don't have any footage of the boss. I tried to play for a few hours, more than that actually. I could not make it to the boss by myself. Yeah, the final boss is pretty cool. The one last thing I want to talk about is that the multiplayer has a kind of a hidden ending that the single player doesn't have if you're playing co-op with your friend. And it's that whenever you get to Mr. X, he asks you one question if you want to side with him or not. And he offers you power and all this other stuff. If you're playing co-op, your friend can choose to side with him and you don't. Well, you guys have to fight to the death now, and whoever wins depends on the ending. If you beat your friend, you get the bad ending and you become the boss after beating Mr. X, because once you beat your friend, no matter who wins or loses, you have to fight Mr. X. Then once you beat him, you can become the boss and become the new crime lord of the syndicate, and that's the bad end. Overall, man, this game is really awesome, and Streets of Rage will forever live in my heart as a classic. And if any of you like retro beat-em-ups and haven't played this game, really probably should. Outside that, thank you all for watching this, and I will be visiting another Sega classic here, and it'll be another beat-em-up soon. But we're going to be going into the fantasy side of things instead of the classic 90s era action movie. Golden Axe will probably be next, and I hope to see you guys in that video. Catch you later.